Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here today. My name is Steve Kelly, last name spelling Kelley. I'm the fire chief for the City of Thornton Fire Department. And I recognize that this is a significant event for the city and for the residents. And I recognize the emotional toll it takes on our community. But I'm going to give a few updates about the fire that occurred at 84th and Huron today. At 11:30 this morning, we responded to a vegetation fire in the area of 84th and Huron. Today, we face red flag conditions with significant winds and extremely dry conditions that we've been experiencing for a prolonged period of time now in the Denver metro area. The fire experienced rapid spread to the east, burning along a green belt between the neighborhood to the residential neighborhood to the north and the businesses to the south. We were able to contain the fire at approximately Elodie Street, with a total fire spread of approximately 10 acres. Like I said earlier, this was a significant fire, which resulted in a very large regional response. We had resources from the City of Thornton Fire Department, Westminster, Adams County, North Metro, Federal Heights, South Adams, and other resources that came in to support stations that have been utilized to respond to the fire. Law enforcement went door to door in the neighborhood to the north to evacuate residents. We closed multiple roads in the area. We evacuated Pinnacle High School to the west. And due to smoke conditions, for a period of time, we closed Interstate 25. At this time, the fire is contained and crews are continuing to work hotspots to ensure that we have the fire completely out. The fire department will have crews out on scene overnight tonight to ensure that we don't have any rekindles or any change in conditions. We established a temporary shelter at Margaret Carpenter Recreation Center, which is where residents that were evacuated were directed to go. We anticipate that there will be continued road closures in the area as we continue to perform fire suppression and containment operations. The outcome of this fire, as challenging as it was, I would like to highlight, we lost no residential structures as a result of this fire. There was no fire spread to the north into the residential neighborhood between Huron and I-25 to the north of 84th Avenue. We did have damage to some businesses along the south side of the fire. We are continuing to evaluate those businesses for damage. At this time, it does not appear that there was any damage to the structures. The cause of the fire is under investigation. We also have 5 reported injuries from this fire, 4 to fire personnel and 1 to a citizen. Again, to the community, I appreciate very much the rapid response from our residents to evacuate the neighborhood so our crews could get in the area and perform fire suppression operations. This was a dynamic, rapidly spreading event that challenged many of the departments in the north area. I appreciate the support we got from our neighboring agencies and from the metro area as well. And as a reminder, these are conditions that we continue to face on a daily basis here in the Front Range that results in this kind of fire spread. With that, I'm happy to take any questions.
How serious were the injuries?
At this time, they're under evaluation. They're not critical injuries.
Can you speak to what you did to protect that neighborhood to the north?
We put numerous apparatus on the road there is Leo Lane. We put numerous apparatus on that roadway and performed suppression operations from those residents. We had fire spread up to the fence line, but did not move into those residential properties.
Did it start in like a playground next to the high school?
The cause of the fire is currently under investigation, but the area where it started was at the area of 84th and Huron to the north of the Pinnacle School there.
Chief, was there any sort of like code red alerts put out or 911 call, reverse 911 call? Because we're hearing from residents that.
Yep. So we utilize the iPause alert system through the state. We did not do any other alerting or currently the City of Thornton is in the transition between Code Red and a new system called RAVE through Motorola.
So because you're between these two systems, no calls went out?
Through that system, there was not. We did door-to-door notification via law enforcement personnel.
Why are evacuations still in place? Is it safe for people to go back to their homes if they so choose?
We're currently evaluating that to make sure it is safe for them to return, and we should be releasing that information shortly.
Do you have a ballpark about how many law enforcement fire personnel responded to this? I mean, it was really
Yep. Yep, there were 47 total apparatus responses from the north area. I don't have an estimate on law enforcement personnel, but it was a law enforcement response that involved both Thornton Police, Westminster, Adams County, North Glen, Federal Heights, Colorado State Patrol. There were numerous supporting agencies on scene.
Were there any vehicles that were burned?
Behind this, the businesses to the north, there were a number of vehicles that were involved. Again, we're still assessing that area.
Would you say there's something that people watching could take away from what happened today?
Certainly. So one of the key components that limited fire spread into that neighborhood was both the fire response from our personnel, in addition to the work of our Parks and Recreation team to maintain that green belt and not allow vegetation to accumulate next to the fence line, and the care that residents have done to make sure that their property is secured from vegetation. That is one of the key contributing factors to vegetation fire spread.
One thing that at least I noticed while standing out there is that there were a lot of people just walking around, whether it be to the school or to nearby businesses, just trying to see what's going on. I assume you would say, don't do that, at least for the time being?
It is, when we have an evolving incident, what we are asking everyone to do involved is to stay away from the area so we can get fire response personnel into the scene to manage the incident. Anytime we get residents in the area or bystanders in the area, it inhibits our ability to operate. So absolutely, that is what we would like to see.
Is school expected to be in session tomorrow?
It is our understanding that school will be in session tomorrow. Police are working on the coordination with the schools to get students to their families.
When's the last time Thornton Fire responded to a fire of this size of nature?
This a 10-acre vegetation fire. We have not seen a fire like this in Thornton, at least in the last 6 months, I would say. But we do respond to a number of vegetation fires. This one, due to the wind conditions, grew very quickly.
How do those wind conditions change how you might approach something like this?
Sure. The wind conditions certainly contribute to the number of apparatus we send to the scene, how quickly we escalate that response. We also send additional apparatus. We have brush type 6 and type 3 engines that come both from the city of Thornton and from neighboring jurisdictions.
So I just want to get clarification, Chief. It's our understanding at this point there is no like reverse alert system in place because the city is between this alert system at this point.
We are utilizing the IPAWS alert system through the state to make those notifications.
And did that go out through the state at this point?
It did go out through the state.
It did go out through the state.
Correct.
I understand from my people are telling me back at the station there was no alert that went out from what they're seeing, but you probably have.
Understood. That's certainly something we'll look into.
Okay. All right. Do you know when that alert system will be reactivated?
We are rapidly trying to get that system in place. I can't give you an exact timeline, but it's our intent to have that system in place
Is there
shortly.
any worry that you may have missed some people because of this lack of the reverse 911 system or lack of the alert?
I can't say for certain whether we missed anybody in the neighborhood. But like I said, our efforts were focused on preventing fire spread into the neighborhood, which successfully occurred. I think that is one of the key takeaways from this incident.
In terms of looking into what caused this, do you guys have an idea of when we might find out?
I'll defer to my fire investigators on when that will occur, and we'll release that once we know.
How many homes were evacuated?
I don't have that count.
With how dry it has been and how easy it is for a fire to start, it doesn't take much for it to happen. What would you advise folks to make sure that they're doing their part, but also what are you all doing at the fire department to make sure fire crews aren't stretched too thin?
Sure. So certainly from the resident standpoint, from the public, as fire safe behaviors. So be cognizant of what you're doing. There's open burn bans in place. We ask the public to adhere to those bans, especially when we have red flag conditions, which were what existed today. For our fire crews, we're constantly training on wildland fire. We make sure our apparatus are ready to go. In conditions like this, we have a significantly elevated response to these incidents.
Are there lessons you learned during the Marshall Fire that you applied to this incident?
Certainly. So the Marshall Fire is, I think, on everybody's minds in the metro area, and our intent is not to allow that to happen again. So we are constantly, again, taking those lessons learned. Like I said earlier, our vegetation management with our open space and on green belts is directed at maintaining recommendations that came out of the Marshall Fire of conditions that contributed to fire spread into neighborhoods.
Do you have any specific things come to mind?
I think that's one key one. But I think also when we talk about response to fires during red flag conditions and during weather conditions like we're facing today and what we faced recently, the magnitude of response that we send these incidents is significant. And it is our intent to get ahead of these fires so we don't have the spread of conditions like we're experienced during the Marshall Fire. I think we're very fortunate today that we did not have an outcome similar.
Is it because you got ahead of the fire that
I would contribute the effort of the fire personnel on scene and their suppression efforts directly contributed to those houses saved. We didn't see any lives lost nor critical injuries.
I saw cars burn, and I saw something else burn. Did you lose any structures, or was that a bin?
We're still evaluating that. There was a lot of, to the north of some of those businesses, there was a lot of equipment, some Connex boxes, some storage units. We're still evaluating what was actually involved. And you'll still see crews over there.
Just because you mentioned it, I know you said before you couldn't go to the extent of the injuries, but you did just say that there were no critical injuries, so all 5 people are expected to be okay.
That is my understanding at this point. I can't answer that with certainty, but my understanding that we don't have critical injuries.
Apologies if you already said this, but how long did it take the fire to be put out?
So we initiated our response at 11:30. By 2:30, we had significant containment of the fire.
Do you have a ballpark of how many firefighters responded? Over 100, over 200?
I would say an estimate of between 100 to 150, a rough estimate.
You guys got what you need?
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.